Okay, get yourself ready for your restorative practice. So have blankets, because the weather's turning a little, isn't it, to cover yourself with. Have a blanket or on top of your mat, just to give you a feeling of comfort and warmth. Have the blanket folded for underneath your head. Have a bolster for underneath your knees, and then a couple of blocks for your feet. Like I say, if you feel like you might be cold, then make sure that you have blankets nearby, and just bring yourself down onto the floor and just allow yourself to relax. So this initial moment of relaxation is always the nicest, where for the first time all day you can finally just let go and release into the floor. So it's like that moment when you've had a really busy day. And I'll just switch off the emails. You had a really busy day and you finally get to bed. So our restorative practice is all about giving us that feeling of release, of support, of warmth and comfort and darkness. So if you can cover your eyes, then do. Consciously unhook the muscles of your arms and your legs. Allowing the body to become heavy on the floor. And just mentally scan the body for areas of discomfort. And push your out breath into any areas of discomfort or tension, using your out breath to release the tension. Just spend a moment to observe where your body makes contact with the floor. How your back is supported by the ground. How the shoulders are supported by the ground, and how your neck and your head is supported by the blanket. Observe how the bolster underneath your knees and the blocks underneath your feet allow your legs to relax. So the more you relax, the more you allow the body to relax, the more you become conscious of a lightness of energy that radiates out from the bones, radiating into the muscles, radiating out from the bones and into the organs. And into the flesh, and radiating into the skin. So be conscious of that feeling of lightness that radiates out from the bone. Use your in-breath and your out-breath to distribute that feeling of lightness evenly down into the tips of the toes, and into the tips of the fingers, and radiating up into the top of your head, using your breath to distribute that feeling of positive, energetic lightness. Basking in a feeling of energetic lightness. Basking in that feeling, that lightness and energy radiates out from the bones and into the muscles and the organs and the flesh and the skin, radiating out from the body like a golden light. Just relaxing the skin and the muscle of the underside of the foot. And relaxing the top of the foot. Then allowing the shins to sink, the shin bones to sink into the calf muscle. So as you remain in position, observe longer exhalations, normal inhalations and slightly longer, deeper exhalations. Just mentally scanning the body, relaxing the feet and the shins and the kneecaps and the thighs so that the legs collapse into the floor. Relaxing the hips. When you're ready to disturb yourself, just gently wriggle your toes and wiggle your fingers, bringing yourself back into this pose of Shavasana. And then bring your feet onto the bolster. The feet together, the feet apart and the knees together. Just resting your back into the floor. And then very gently roll onto your right side. Stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg, come back up into a seated position. Just come into cross legs. Just observe how your energy has changed. How that feeling of lightness can remain. Okay, we're going to do the supported child's pose. So if you've got two bolsters, then that is really good. If you haven't got two bolsters, one bolster will be fine, and then you can just put some blocks underneath. So the blocks that you just had for your feet, you can put those underneath your bolster, and then put your bolster on top of there. If you've got two bolsters, however, use one on top of the other. So we're just going to have bolsters between the two knees, and maybe you want a folded blanket just along there just to make it higher still, and then just have the bolster between the two knees, and then you're just going to rest forwards, letting your arms rest hanging down to the floor, just resting your head on one side. So in supported child's pose, the idea is that the arms are free to hang down to the floor. So you're not trying to support your weight with your shoulders or with your elbows. You're just allowing the elbows to stretch down to the floor. Just allow your head to rest on one side, and then after we've been here for a little while, rest your head over to the other side, just so that you give your neck an equal stretch. So this pose is calming and reassuring. Don't forget to swap the position of your head, just resting yourself down. Okay, when you're ready, just bring your hands onto the floor underneath your shoulders and then just sit yourself up. Sit back on your heels for a moment, just observing your energy. And then we're going to do a restorative pigeon pose, but without any equipment at all. So you're just going to come down along the floor. Of course, you can cover yourself if you need to. Just lay on your front. You bend your elbows and then you create a little pillow for your head with your hands. And then you're just going to bend out your right knee out to the side and then rest your head on the side of your head so that your chin is in the same direction as the bent knee. So one leg is straight, the other just bends into a bit of a right angle, but just observe for yourself what is comfortable. So this is sometimes known as the frog, sometimes known as the yin version of pigeon. Either way, it just opens up the hip area, front of the hip nicely. So just using the floor. If there's any discomfort, then you can put a bolster underneath the chest, but otherwise just directly on the floor. And then when you're ready, just lift your head, just stay on your front, but straighten out that right leg. Just rest down with both legs on the floor. Just for a moment, resting your chin on the back of your hands. And then bring your other knee out to the side, rest your head on the side with the chin facing the bent knee, having the other leg straight. Okay, when you're ready to disturb yourself, just lift your head, just rest your head on your your chin on the backs of your hands. Just straighten out both legs. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders and then push yourself up into a seated position, just sitting back on your heels if that's comfortable. And then lift and open the chest. Just observe your energy. Okay, we're going to do the legs up the wall pose. So have a bolster by your wall, and if you've got a belt handy, it's useful to have a belt because it just helps you to keep your legs kind of compact. So have a belt where you can reach it, and put it into a loop before you go up, so that it's easy to get yourself into position. So again, you can just use blankets to cover yourself over. So have your belt in a loop like that, and then you're just gonna sit yourself on your bolster and roll up onto your back so that your legs are up the wall. Then just thread the belt around your legs and just tie the legs together, just so that they can stay in good position. Just so make sure that your legs just rest upwards, so you can bring the belt around the shins just to keep the legs together. And then you can just rest your arms over your head along the floor, so you just bend your elbows and allow the body to rest into the floor. Again, you can just use excuse me, a lift. So you can cover your eyes if you want to. Otherwise, just sitting right on top of the bolster with your legs stretching up the wall. Really nice, de-stressing pose. Focus on your breath. Bring in deep inhalations into the lungs and then allowing the body to relax with each exhalation. Using each out breath to really consciously let go. Filling the lungs from the bottom to the top. Emptying your lungs from the top to the bottom. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose if you can. Just observing the rise and the fall of the chest as you inhale and exhale. Okay, when you're ready, just bring your arms back to the sides of your ribs. And then bend your knees, just slide yourself out of the belt if you can. And then just gently roll over onto your side. And then just gently bring yourself up into cross-leg position. So just sit in cross legs. Just observe the lightness of energy that comes from our relaxation poses. And then we'll finish in the same way that we began. So have folded blanket from underneath your head. Have a bolster from underneath your knees, and you don't necessarily need the blocks for underneath your feet. This time you can just rest yourself down along the mat. Maybe have something to cover yourself over if the temperature's getting a bit lower. And then just rest yourself down into your basic relaxation pose, just feeling how the body is connected to the floor. Just letting go of the arms and the legs, unhooking the muscles, allowing the body to become heavy on the floor. And out of that heaviness, perhaps you observe a feeling of energetic lightness that radiates out from the bones. Radiates from the bones and into the muscles and into the organs. And into the flesh and into the skin. Using your in-breath and your out-breath to distribute that feeling of energetic lightness evenly down into the tips of the toes, into the tips of the fingers, and up into the top of the head. Just basking in that feeling of energetic lightness. Okay, when you're ready to disturb yourself, just gently wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers. And then bring your feet onto the bolster, have the feet together and your knees apart. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. And then very gently roll over onto your right side. Just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg. Just come up into cross legs with your hands in the Masti, just a final spinal lift. Drawing your breath in through your nose and down into your abdomen. Conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice. A good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions and the reclining poses bring to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And radiate that positive energy out into the world. And then when you're ready, just gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Maybe observing how there's a real brightness to your vision. Thank you very much. So hopefully you feel as though you've really let the day that you've had just drift away behind you, and you've given yourself some good positive energy to put into your day. So thank you very much for joining me.